This is going to be the most ADD ADHD episode you have so far.
This is carpal tunnel. Being vulnerable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Being Vulnerable. This is episode 7 of season 3. We've made it this far. I got a very special guest for y'all today. It's Nat or Natalie, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi guys. My name is Natalie. Um, I'm a content creator on Threads where I'm mostly talking about neurodivergence, being ADHD, especially being late diagnosed ADHD, and also I'm sharing ups and downs of my healing journey.
Nice. You want to say a little bit about from where you're from, where you're at now, and your career?
Of course. Originally, I'm coming from Central Europe. Right now, I'm living in New York City for over a year. Um, my idea for Threads and my podcast, I forgot to mention my podcast, but it came to me around 2 years ago, when I was actually traveling to France, when I needed some time just to clear up my mind and decide what I want to do next after like big changes in my life. Um, and then I've got this idea of bringing closure to the subjects around neurodivergence because I felt like we do not talk much about it. And I wanted to bring some closure for people who cannot afford therapy, who cannot afford paid resources. Um, I felt like reading about something is not always what we need. Hearing is actually what makes us feel better and less alone. Because I feel like most of us, like late diagnosed neurodivergent people, we feel lonely and not understand like for most of our lives. And then it's suddenly hearing someone going through exactly the same or similar experiences might be like, hey, I'm not alone.
What brought you to New York? Just curious.
Mostly curiosity and the fact that when I was 10 years old, I made like a little promise to myself that one day I'll make it to New York. And then I abandoned this idea for like so many years, because I thought that it's not going to be possible. Like, I did not believe in myself that I can make it. Um, and then one day, when the opportunity came, I was like, hey, let's make it. Let's do this. Let's make that 10 years old Natalie be happy.
Yeah. One day I'll be in New York. That's one of my dreams is to get my musical onto Broadway.
I hope you'll make it one day.
I I know I will. I got to keep that.
Like do it.
Yeah.
You're never too old to like fulfill your dreams.
Yeah. So when were you first diagnosed? You said it was 20 after 20 years?
I was 28 when I was
28.
finally diagnosed. And it was actually accidental, because at the same time, my friends were going through diagnosis, and my therapist started pointing out into that direction after like 2, 3 years of already like working with me. When we worked through my traumas, actually, then I don't remember right now the situations I was like mentioning from my childhood and stuff. I bet it's mostly about focus. But then she said like, hey, what if like I'm not like certified to do a proper diagnosis, but what if you go to this and this place and just like have it? For some time, of course, I was procrastinating having an official diagnosis, of course. But everything started to make sense when I was like dwelling into the subject of neurodivergence. Because like mostly when I was a teenager, I was misdiagnosed with general anxiety disorder. This is what is
Mm,
happening to like female patients.
no.
We're mostly being misdiagnosed as kids. So I was treated for that, only to find out that I shouldn't be. It was just my ADHD symptoms getting like super intense and elevating my anxiety to the level it was unbearable. But it was just untreated ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I began acting out, doing like very impulsive stuff when I was in middle school. And it had to do with me hyperfixating on heartbreak, actually. My first heartbreak, and I very sad and just and people surrounded me in this bathroom that I was like trying to just avoid people, and they wouldn't leave me alone, and just the sounds of everyone just there and everyone's eyes, I screamed out, "Leave me alone or I'm gonna kill myself," which I was not feeling like suicidal or anything, but that's just how I reacted. And then I got sent to the deans, and they were like, "Yo, before he comes back to school, he has to go see a therapist and a psychiatrist and all this stuff." And the psychiatrist was like, "Well, could be depression, could be anxiety, could be ADHD, could be bipolar. So here's 10 different types of drugs. See which one works, and that's how we're gonna figure out how what you're actually suffering from." And the first one I took was Zoloft, which made me just feel so weird, so numb to the world. It felt like I didn't feel anything. I couldn't feel happy or sad. And I didn't take any of the other ones because of that. Because if I had that bad experience that first time, so then I just kept masking every part of like my mental health and stuff because I wasn't really getting the right type of support in school. A lot of people just thought I was stupid, or it's also the cultural thing of brown people are lazy. It's like a bad um, stereotype. So they were just thinking that the reason why I'm always daydreaming in class and not like doing everything is just because, oh, I'm just a lazy person. Um, it was till after high school when I went to college and was struggling really bad in college. And I went back to, or actually went to my family doctor, and they were like, and my family doctor could diagnose me because he was like a mental health psychiatrist or whatnot. And he was like, "You have ADD. I've known you've had ADD for a while because I have very, I'm always like, I am sick, I am dying." And I like hyperfixate on like I had hypochondria bad. And really at the end of the day, it was like, no, you just have a cold. uh, and then he finally diagnosed me, and I finally got on Adderall when I was like 22 or something. But Adderall was so expensive, and I didn't really have Medicaid at the time, so like I'd only be able to get it for like midterms and finals week. It'd be like $300, and my parents would just be like, "Okay, we're gonna save that for your midterms and finals." And then and then once I dropped out of college because of a sports injury, because I was playing college sports at the time, and then I went through like some of the darkest moments of my life, not because I was just feeling lost in this world, not knowing what to do because all I did was do sports before. But when I went back to the doctor again, like I was probably like 26, and I actually Medicaid was like, no, could give me Adderall, and the government was paying for it, so I was able to get Adderall every month. And then it really changed me in a way where I could actually now focus on things and actually start learning and really feel normal because I didn't feel normal for so long. I just thought I was different. And then re-rolled back in college, and I really got a 4.0 in my community college, and then went on to university, and graduated with like a 3.7 and all this stuff, but it was because I was finally diagnosed with ADD and finally had the help that I needed. And yeah, like it being on Adderall has changed my life because I'm able to be a more functioning part of society. Um, were you ever put on meds?
Only recently. Um, when I was a kid, I mean, when you're a teenager, you're basically being a kid, right?
No,
I was put on antidepressants and benzos,
no.
uh, which was like really bad for me, because my psychiatrist was irresponsible. Um, and here I just want to add to people who are listening to this episode right now that even if your psychiatrist is like prescribing you something, still be careful about like the right doses and how long you are taking some medication. Because in my case, my psychiatrist got me addicted from benzos when I was a
Oh,
teenager.
damn.
Um, and I was addicted to this degree that I was literally waking up and I felt the need to take a pill because I was like, hey, I need to get up from the bed. So hey, let's pop that pill because hey, it will
Yeah,
be like helpful to just get up. And I was definitely taking too much. And it's especially helpful for like still developing brain. Because also as neurodivergents, we are developing for much longer than neurotypicals. So it was like really, really bad. And I was taking them for like over a year alongside antidepressants. And I remember when I stopped taking them, and uh, my body was just going through the worst nightmare ever because I had these massive headaches. I was shaking all the time. I was just going, through withdrawal.
yeah,
And it was like extremely intense for like my young body. And of course, my psychiatrist, instead of helping me to get off slowly, she was like, okay, stop taking them. And this is also dangerous with benzos because you can literally have seizures and some people might also die. So it was highly irresponsible from my psychiatrist to put me through all of this. And this is actually what made me be scared of like any kind of medication after, because I was afraid just of side effects of getting off of it. So for like many years, I didn't go to like any therapy, any psychiatrist. Like I was like convinced 100% that I can handle everything alone. Uh, and also still I was misdiagnosed for most of the time, right? And in countries like mine, because like what I noticed in the United States is that some psychiatrists will like try different kinds of meds since you are like young and you have the access to like many different meds. And in countries like mine, we don't. Meds are being restricted because it's a controlled substance, right? And in some countries, it's not being produced in the country. You need to take it from some other countries. If I remember correctly, my benzos were like taken from Germany. So I was like scared of getting on any meds for like the next 10 years because right now I'm taking ADHD meds for like, I think I started like a year ago. And um, I'm taking them only when I'm like working or I need to focus. I'm not taking them when I'm like on a day off. And of course, due to my history of like bad relationship with benzos, like the amount, like the range of meds I can take is like extremely limited for me right now.
yeah,
And I'm like happy to have a good psychiatrist right now who is like paying attention to it, who is paying attention to doses, kind of meds I can take because like I still deal with anxiety that is sometimes stronger than me.
yeah,
But luckily, my psychiatrist is like, okay, okay, we'll deal with it in like the safest way possible.
Yeah.
But overall, change the way like I perceive ADHD right now. Because like of course sometimes I'm like getting sad and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I was taking it like I don't know, as a teenager or something around that age, because I was struggling with focus. I was called like you mentioned, right, being stupid, being lazy. I've heard that I will never finish, and university, I will never finish my education, I will never get a job, I will never whatever, right?
Yeah.
That people can tell you that is hurtful. And it happened that it's just my ADHD. That was all the answer, being ADHD. And I'm a mixed type. So most of the times it didn't show up. And of course, for like us women, it will never be the same as
Yeah.
for male patients. So also I have this like feeling, that I should have been diagnosed. But that, on the other hand, I know that it was impossible. So I need to focus on like what I can do now while I'm finally on the right medication.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that just, I mean, it hit home for me too. So not only being misdiagnosed when I was a middle schooler, or not even diagnosed, they were just like, here's all this. It actually gave me a really bad rep for like I really haven't been to therapy since that time because the therapist was kind of undermining me a lot, not understanding exactly what I was going through culturally. I was going through as um, lower class, things I was going through being bullied and all the things that what I really had was I had some PTSD and I have a like low form of autism. I didn't find that out till like 2 years ago. And that was like when I was like 32. Um, but when I was starting to have bad panic attacks and anxiety and stuff when I started on Adderall, and they gave me a benzo for my insomnia because I wasn't able to sleep at all. And I was taking temazepam for like 8 years every night. And when I switched, because I like moved, so I had to switch doctors, and I got a new like psychiatrist. And I told her that I was on temazepam, and then she was like, "Well, that's only like a 1 month thing. We don't subscribe that for long term." And I was like, "Well, my old, he's like 80-year-old general doctor was giving me that for 8 years straight." And then she, I had to get off of the temazepam because they were like, "That's gonna give you seizures. It could give you aneurysms in the brain." She was surprised that I haven't really actually died yet or something. Um, so she kind of slowly got me off of it, but I still went through like I had like a good month of like tremors where every night when I try to close my eyes, I would just start tremoring and like I would like the withdrawal off of benzos is just so um undescribable in a way. Uh, I mean, sometimes I thought I was having a heart attack, but me being me, I don't ask for help. I just sit there and just deal with it and struggle and suffer with the withdrawals. Um, yeah, and so I finally got switched on to a different um, insomnia medication that is kind of like a Benadryl or hydroxychloroquine or whatnot. I forget what it's called, but it will help me with my anxiety as well because when you try to lay down and go to sleep and you can't sleep, you get anxiety for ADD people because then you're hyper fixating on it and then you're just like stressing that you can't sleep.
Some time ago, I actually found one of psychologists saying that neurodivergent people don't fall asleep. We're just passing out. from exhaustion because our brains are still working, even if we're supposed to rest and we're supposed to fall asleep, we don't.
I feel that I have such vivid nightmares, and a lot of times or not nightmares, vivid dreams, but a lot of times I know I'm dreaming and I'm sitting there thinking, and I wake up probably like a good 8 times in the middle of the night after a dream, and then I'm just sitting there thinking about the dream, and then I'll go back into it, and then it's like, did I really sleep? Um, that's why I actually started drinking heavily alcohol so I could actually sleep, but that's not good for me at all. But it helps. It's in a way. Being neurodivergent. Not a lot of people understand the difference of how our brains process differently. And it took my parents a long time to understand. I feel like I teachers knew when I was like little, because I was put into like the gifted and talented, and I was doing speech therapy and stuff because I had such a bad stutter because my brain couldn't process language fast enough. Like my brain was
Mm-hmm.
moving too fast for my mind to speak. And then when I hit middle school, I was just no longer in those classes. And then looking back at it, when I was talking to my psychiatrist, she was like, "Yeah, they knew you were autistic at that young of an age."
I mean, at least someone maybe, try to at least think about it because um in countries like mine, being neurodivergent is like completely neglected by the teachers. I remember my teachers like calling my parents and being like, "Hey, we think your kid is taking drugs," because I was falling asleep on the first classes. And it's just me being tired with a massive brain fog, not being able to focus. But teachers prefer to be like demonize my person at some point, like literally my parents were called multiple times for like teachers warning them about me taking drugs. And I was like,
Yeah.
how? When? I was 14. I literally knew shit about life, so you're expecting me to get drugs? Come on.
I understood that too.
And at the same time, like in my country, people are like smoking and drinking alcohol from like the young age and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And this is like completely fine. But then having a kid tired at the first class is like mm, drugs.
Yeah. See, I there's a little similarity because I grew up in like a very poor neighborhood. It's very gang, and a lot of people are doing drugs in middle school at that age. And so I was always just looked at like, yeah, I was one of those people when really no, I just they weren't piquing my interest. If they could, like, whenever someone piqued an interest of mine, I could be so excited and passionate about it. And that's why, like, sports was the thing that helped me out through all of my since I mean I was playing sports since I was like 5. But that is why I didn't really get diagnosed with ADHD because I had something that I was so passionate about, focused on, that it didn't seem like I was that, but something about sports that just really helped me. And so when I lost that, I like lost the one thing that was helping me. Um, yeah, because of an injury, that's the only reason why I lost sports is my body
Oh
failed
no.
me.
Oh no. Your body was like, hey, go and get that fucking diagnosis, dude.
It took me a while. Really, I was coping with drugs and alcohol for a good like 4 years. Like those darkest parts of my life was me coping with my ADD through drugs. Because a lot of them give you dopamine and making me feel more like I can function. And then also my hyper fixation and hyper focus on avoiding the world and avoiding consequences. My psychiatrist, my recent one, told me that yeah, that ADD can be or ADHD can be a superpower in that way, where you can actually hyper fixate on something so you don't worry about all the consequences and everything else going on in the world, and you could just be in your own little bubble. Whether if it's I know you said that your yours was books. I have aphantasia, so I can't really picture images in my brain. So mine was TV and comic books and video games because they're giving me images. But I'd sit down and read a book and I'd like read like 3 lines and my brain just start wandering. Um, so like I did horrible in any type of literature class or English class because I just couldn't sit there and read more than like 3 lines.
When I was a kid, I was reading a lot. It was like my way to escape and like hyper focus on something. And also like recently I learned that it was also like a part to cope with my CPTSD as a kid and just running away into like the world of books. And I used to sorry, I used to read like books so fast as a kid that people working at the library were like, hey, she's not reading it. And I was just like getting one book, finishing it the same day, giving it back the next day, and just getting another one. And also because I was reading a lot, I was like quickly switched to like much more difficult literature as a kid. And this is also when they were like, oh shit, this is too difficult for her. And I was like, hey, I just need to feed my brain with something more, right?
Yeah.
But despite it being a trauma response, I'm grateful for it because I think that this is what is helping me write today. Because like uh writing comes naturally to me. Like I can sit and like write a lot, and it doesn't matter if it's like a poem, if it's going to be an essay, a short story. I'm just going to sit and write it like complete at one take.
Nice.
So I'm really grateful for that period in my life, despite the dark side of it.
Yeah, like I didn't know I was a writer till like way long. But I would always write poetry. I'd always just write notebooks, whether if it's just, yeah. But no one actually cultivated that in me because when I couldn't r really read well, they would be like, no one ever actually engaged in my writing, like professors and teachers and stuff. Like I had to find that on my own, that writing is actually the one thing that is a gift. Because there's something about writing, because I have horrible handwriting. I don't know if you have that too, but my brain still moves faster than my hand could write, but it's actually still communicating what my brain is saying, where speaking I have the trouble with.
Yes, I didn't know like about that for a long time, I think. Because during my school, of course, I ended up as a burnout. Of course, as like most of us.
Yeah.
Because I was writing really well, and my teachers were putting like a lot of pressure on me to keep writing better essays, keep doing whatever, going to like um I forgot the word for it right now. Being ADHD, sometimes I'm forgetting words in my own language and in my second language and any additional language I know. Um, but like to competitions, between schools and stuff like that. And my teachers were always like, hey, do better, like perform better, because, they wanted me to win. So, our school will be in papers. So I ended up as a burnout and I didn't write for actually a long time after that. Even if I was in my high school, I was like preparing to be a journalist. So I went to that special school. I don't know how it works in the United States, but we have this like things called profiles when we're going to high schools. And we have like high schools only for kids focusing on like math, physics, like humanistic side. So I went to one focused on journalism.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, what was like the end of my writing. I don't know for how many years, but it was quite a time before I came back actually to like writing poems and writing stuff. I like a couple of years ago, I had like the short episode of writing an entire movie script in one night
Oh, nice.
because I was like so hyper focused to finish it that I was like, okay, okay, no sleep, just coffee. more coffee, that is also making me sleepy. Like coffee is not working on me at all. So I don't know why I was drinking it. I mean, back then, okay, just to clarify, I didn't know I'm ADHD. So
Yeah.
I kept drinking coffee and getting more tired. But I did it. I wrote an entire movie script. And this is when I was like, hey, I can actually come back to writing.
Nice. Yeah. The something that was actually one of the things that when I first got diagnosed for ADHD, they asked me about energy drinks. And I was like, yeah, I drink like 4 energy drinks a day. I could drink an energy drink right before bed and go to sleep. Um, there's something about caffeine that just allows the ADDH brain to slow down and then be able to sleep.
Yes. It's because our dopamine level is like hitting the sweet spot for sleep.
There's the part of ADD that makes me unconsciously or accidentally hurt myself a lot doing things like a story in elementary class where they were reading. My teacher was reading Harry Potter to us. I was sitting there all bored, and I had this stapler, and I was just like, "Oh!" And I accidentally stapled a staple through my fingernail. I mean, I didn't mean to hurt myself. I was just like, it was a compulsive thing that I did, and now I know never to put my hand in a stapler. Yeah, it was like during the middle of her reading. And then I stabled myself and I was like, okay, I'm bleeding everywhere. And I like rose my hand. Teacher's reading, she can't see me, so I was like sitting there for like 5 minutes just bleeding everywhere, like waiting for her to see me. Um, but then there's times where I'm like hyper fixated on like certain thing and I'm like actually purposely hurt myself for like some stupid reason. It's not the same as like cutting, but it is similar where I'm like, oh, I've cut myself, but it's not the same as like depression cutting. It's like a impulsivity type of thing. I do the same thing with money. I am so impulsive and so horrible with money that I hurt myself by spending money a lot. I don't know if you struggle with money issues or
Yeah, we all
anything like
struggle
that.
with money.
Well, some people are savers. I just cannot, you know, I go swipe my card and it declines, and I'm like, oh, I should have money on there.
But maybe it's also something that we are taking like uh from like homes and stuff like that when we were growing up because like um my parents were always like treating money in a very particular way. And like they never like taught me how to deal with money because like at the same time my parents were really secretive about the amount of money we have, the amount of money like I don't know, they have saved, whatever. Like they never spoke about money at the same time, but they were also like limiting like money they for example spend on me. Like I remember when I was 18, because like in my country we are being adults when we are 18, right? Even if we haven't finished high school, because when we are finishing high school, we are 19. So I remember my parents being like so kind, and before my 18th, they told me that, hey, you're an adult, so you need to take care of your own finances from now on. And I was like, I know shit about money. Like my parents never like literally never taught me like how to save money, how to deal with money issues. Like taxes were like surreal to me. And like getting a job, I remember that I was like preparing to my finals, and at the same time I was working at a restaurant, and I was just bringing books to a restaurant, and I remember everyone being like, why do you keep working? Like you have high school to finish. And I was like, but I need to eat, and deal with stuff. But at the same time, I still didn't know how to save money. Like what to do, how much money I need to have prepared for everything. Because like, when you're a kid, you don't care how much money your parents are spending to feed you, right?
Yeah.
You just don't care. And I've had like friends who are like really good with all of that stuff because like their parents were like good with it and like always talking with them about that. And then there was me being an adult and not knowing what the hell am I supposed to do, Like I was so lost and I still have like I think a bad relationship with money, even if like um I am not spending money in a very impulsive way because like I don't need much objects in my life. I'm like the opposite. I'm
Mhm.
like a person who doesn't own many objects. I don't need them. And I know that on the opposite, other neurodivergents, they are buying impulsively like everything, even if they don't need it. Um, like this is how we work. But I can't, for example, plan my finances. It's like in my brain, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I remember even like one time a couple of years ago, I bought myself like a financial planner and stuff like that, and I never used it.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of where my money problems come with too is me seeing something that I like when I have money, or this actually came through like my student loans for college. I'd have money and I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, this is something I've always wanted, or this is something, everyone else has this. I want this too. And I'd like hyperfixate on it and then impulsively buy something that I don't use or don't
Mm-hmm.
like really bad with video games with that. Like there's so many video games I have bought that I have like played once and I haven't played, but I bought them because that's what everyone else was playing. Or I'd overindulge when I had the money and be like, everyone else got to eat at this restaurant. I want to eat at this restaurant. Everyone else had a $40 steak. I want a $40 steak. What is that like? Because I came
Mm-hmm.
from a very poor family that they gave the kids what they could that they didn't have when they were kids, but it was still limited. Like they'd always make sure to give us the best um, Christmas ever. Birthdays were a thing that we didn't really get much for our birthday because they were always saving for that Christmas to see the light in their children's eyes when they get to open a present for something that they've been wanting that my parents saved like 3 months for just to buy me a PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. um, so because I don't really need much either. Like when I don't have money, I only really spend my money on cigarettes and some beer. That's all I really spend my money on. I'm not like impulsively buying stuff, but when I have money, I just don't think about the ramifications of me spending it and
Mm-hmm.
not being broke the next day. So I'm like, oh, I have money. I will. There's this game that I've always wanted to play. I'm only gonna play it once. And I waste that money, then I regret it the next day. I'm like, yeah.
Because it's also about curiosity. We just want to check it out. We want to try.
And there's something about buying something like that that gives you like a little reward, like, oh, I finally got that. Like,
Yes, and it's like not only a reward, but also like a sense of control, you know? Like especially for people who are like growing in unstable households.
yeah.
It's like spending money, it's also about control and being like, hey, I am able to spend that money because that money is mine and nobody can tell me what to do with it. So I'm just going to buy it because I can.
Can we talk about rejection? Because I did not know what RSD was until your podcast and really understood why I hyperfixate on rejection so much that now it's hard for me to even put myself out there. And like I don't know, like probably 8 to 10 years, maybe even more single because I'm like just so afraid. of rejection that I can't put myself out there anymore, that I just like because of the trauma that rejection has kind of printed on me, and childhood trauma and rejection from just so many aspects of life, and then society. Like right now, society is rejecting brown people. Well, American society is. I just I just have so much of a struggle just even leaving my little bubble in my house because I'm afraid of what other people are going to look at me and reject me for.
Yeah, this is like what is messing up with our minds at some point and is like stopping us from doing like whatever. It doesn't matter if it's like a dating scene, like job performance or whatever. Like the fear of rejection hurts differently when it comes to like neurodivergent people because we kind of feel it on a also like physical level, right? And if I'm going to mention, like, for example, going through a heartbreak, like, probably every neurodivergent person will be like, hey, yeah, it did hurt everywhere. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I cried for a week and I moved on. It's like, it just destroyed us at some point. Uh, I was definitely struggling for like a long time from like the fear of rejection. But also at the same time, I guess, like in my case, it's also like connected to like my traumas, like to my past, because like I'm a kid who was like neglected by my parents, right? And it didn't matter what I did, it didn't matter what I said, it was always wrong, it was always the worst. Like my parents were making sure that I know it, that, you know, I was not a good kid. uh and then yeah, like the fear of like rejection and social interactions was like overwhelming to me for like, I would say, not only like my childhood but also like teenage years. Like I was so afraid of rejection that I was afraid to speak, for example, and I was speaking like so low and I wasn't able to say like a full sentence and stuff. And I remember everyone being just like, oh, she's shy, she's this, she's that, right? And only after I was like, this kid was ADHD and heavily traumatized,
Yeah.
at the same time. But what's, I think, the most hurtful part of RSD is that those thoughts are irrational, but at the same time, we kind of can't understand that they are. And like our head will love to lie to us and being like, oh, a slight shift of energy. Hey, they hate us. It's because of us. It's because we did something or because we looked in the wrong way or whatever. Like our brains will add all of the story out of like the smallest situation. And I remember my therapist, my current therapist, he told me that uh okay, like maybe rejection is a part of life. We'll get rejected by a romantic interest, we'll get rejected from work, we'll get rejected whatever reason is. But he told me that I need to try to take a lesson out of it and maybe try to even like, if I'm going to get hurt, I need to try something like beautiful in it, right?
Yeah.
And what helped me with like dealing with RSD and all of that stuff is I'm always asking myself, what's the worst thing that can happen? And usually when you ask yourself that question, you'll be like, nothing. Like, I'm interested in someone, I'm going to tell them, and they won't, I don't know, they don't want the same thing. Like, what will happen? Nothing, right? It will hurt
Yeah.
a little bit, but we'll move on and we'll meet another person who like want the same, and we'll forget about, the person in the past, and we're like, whatever, loser, right?
Yeah. That fear of rejection has might have kept me from maybe some of the like a beautiful relationship that I might have could have had, but that fear kept and it came from the trauma of being constantly rejected.
Yes, and this is something that we need to learn, like how to let things go and like how to detach ourselves from like what was in the past and not let it, like take control what is happening now because the people we are meeting, they're different. They're not
Yeah.
the same. Those situations are not the same. And we tend to make assumptions at the same time because most of us, I bet, when we like someone, we're starting to think they will leave. They will reject us, they will leave, they will tell us we're stupid, whatever. But on the other hand, it's like, and so,
Yeah.
like, what can we do about it? And like, also, about like interest and stuff like that. We don't have to be interested in someone in the beginning. Like, we don't have to be interested in everyone. And the same with love. Love is coming with time. Like, whenever someone is feeling love too fast, it's most likely limerence, not love.
Yeah.
Uh, because literally, even on like the level of biochemistry of our brains, love needs time to like feel. And I'm always telling people to like, whenever they are coming back on a dating scene, I'm like, do it for fun, do it for yourself. Like go on dates, even if they won't work out, go on dates and just like think after like, how did I do? But not in like a hurtful way and being like, oh, I sucked, whatever.
Yeah.
But being like, hey, this person with, I don't know, this interest, this personality set, whatever, this is not a person I'm interested in. So like, why to pursue someone like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, I know that, we are growing up with like Disney animations that are like heavily romanticizing relationships, and they're telling us, about things like love from the first sight and stuff like that. But reality is like it's completely different,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm always like, people, put yourself out there. But you don't have to like go on dating apps and like, I don't know, go schedule like 10 dates in 10
Yeah.
days. You can go to a bar and just talk with people. You can just, you don't have to treat it like so seriously. I also like to say, get rid of expectations because expectations are hurting people. And whenever they are not being met, people are getting disappointed.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hurting both sides. And instead of making expectations, we actually need to focus on what we need and then see if the other person is meeting our needs. But not in like a manipulative way, in like
Yeah.
genuine way. And to me, it's like whenever like I'm meeting new people, I'm trying to learn that it's okay, you know, if we won't like match or we won't like each other, or I don't know, we'll just decide to be friends. I have like so many people that I'm actually like really good friends today right now. I know that we would never work out in a relationship, but those friendships are like amazing and I'm like so grateful for them because I did not create an expectation in the beginning, and also like I'm dealing with I am dealing with like commitment issues and attachment issues and other issues. So for some point I was this bad guy that you're meeting on dating apps. Because whenever people like showed interest in me, I was just getting scared because I'm trying to heal from my typical avoidant, fearful attachment style. So I'm the internet's bad guy who is running away when people are showing interest. But it's just because I didn't know first that I'm dealing with this kind of attachment style, and I also didn't know that part of my childhood or like my past relationships are responsible for it. So I did not meet people with like intent of like long-term relationships. Like I didn't put the pressure on them, on myself. Uh, I was just like, focusing on like meeting people and having fun and like looking for what's like the best for me and what works for me. Because I feel like some people are putting too much pressure. Like whenever they're like meeting one person, they will be like, oh, this is it because this person is interested in me.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that sometimes we are confusing someone's kindness and someone being friendly with like a genuine interest in us. And this is when, again, we are creating expectations.
Yeah.
And then those people will be like, hey, but I wanted to be friends. I was just nice. And we're ending up hard.
Yeah.
And it's just going over and over and over. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, like people will just get off of the dating scene because they are just afraid a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
I had this situation. It's actually, I mean, it's kind of fun and tragic at the same time. Because there was this one person I've met like over a year ago that I stated that I'm focused on like actually making friends because like I'm new to the city. I need to like stabilize my life and everything around that. So I was like, I'm not interested in a relationship right now, but if you want to be like friends, I'm open to it. And then this person was like, okay, fine. And literally, we grabbed a cup of coffee like once or twice. And then this person started to be like extremely possessive towards me and really controlling, really like whenever I had some free time, this person kept calling me. And even if I communicated, because like even if like I'm dealing with my attachment style, I'm still working on communication and being transparent, and like communication is important to me. So I communicated that, hey, the fact that I have, I don't know, some free time right now, it doesn't mean that you're entitled to it. And this person was just getting more and more anxious about it. Um, and then there was this one night when um, we were talking, like it was like late evening, we are talking, and then I said, I was like, like just my social batteries were drained. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to chill and like work on my social media and like do my stuff, and I'm just going to sleep after. And they're like, okay, fine, whatever. And then at 2 a.m. they're texting me back and they're like, are you seeing other guys? And I'm like, what? And they're like, are you sleeping with other people right now? And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
yeah.
Like, it's first none of your business, and second, I can do whatever I want to do, like
Yeah.
I never told you that we're going to like date and see each other, right? And then this person just kept attacking me, started calling me names. Then they said that I'm sorry, it's because I'm PTSD. And I'm like, so if you like are dealing with all of that stuff, maybe you shouldn't try seeing other people, and like you should try listen to other people, because like you can't force something on me even if you are like interested in me at the same time. And I ended up blocking that person because like I was like, this is
Yeah.
too much. This is just too much. And this is like an example of like how expectation can like mess up relation
Yeah.
between people.
And there's something about ADD and dating an ADHD person. Yeah, because there are times where I'm like, I don't even look at my phone all day because I am just so socially drained. And then someone I'm talking to will take that as I am cheating on them or avoiding them and all that stuff. And it's really like I'm just dealing with my own mental stuff that I have to be away, which has caused a lot of unnecessary heartbreak for some people. That or some women that I have been I mean it's a lot of it's just not them not knowing how my brain processes in that way that the phone. And it would be so much different if they were like next to me because then they would have
Mm-hmm.
to deal with my avoidance because it's so much different using a phone to communicate for me than it is to have someone there because then they'll see that I'm just right there and I'm just in my own world and not doing that. But I've also been on the other side because I am the type of person because of my hyperfixation and my strong empathy and emotions that I am the type of guy who will say I love you on the first date because I hyperfixate on this emotion that I am feeling with them and it will make me feel like I need this person in my life for the rest of my life. So like I want this person in my life for the rest of my life. So I'll very scare women away by saying I love you too early, but it's because of also my ADD. I was born with jaundice, so I was born and had to be put into an incubator for 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
without any touch from my mom or my parents. So like I was just immediately taken from a womb and put into a box because of my health, and I think that might have been a cause of why I feel so much to like try to hold on to people
Mm-hmm.
and why I'm so hurt and fixate on not losing somebody because that is like my biggest fear is losing someone or also dying alone. It's for some reason it's like not having somebody is like a big fear. I've gotten to a point where I'm a lot more emotional intelligent to know that is something I need to work on myself before I try to bring someone into my world, understand myself. But I do have those attachment things where I'm either so heavily attached, but I'm not the person that will text someone like, "Why aren't you texting me?" I'm the person who will think, "Why aren't you texting me?" And like, is it because you don't like me anymore? Are you with someone else? Are you sleeping with someone else? Is there something else happening? And all of those thoughts came from actually women cheating on me. Um, like I have never broken up with someone. I've been always broken up with or cheated on, and I've people take advantage, or women have taken it. Well, also people, men have too, of my kindness. So I'm always just so soft and sensitive. At they know if they do something wrong, I'm gonna forgive them next day because I don't want them to leave my life. So I will forgive women who've cheated on me, and then they'll know that they could go cheat on me more and more, and I'm still like it. I don't have that strength in me for some reason, and I it probably has to do with childhood trauma of like not wanting someone to leave me, but and then just a lot of heartbreak that has just really made me a I'm needy, but I'm not as needy as because of my ADD, because I could avoid picking up my phone for a day, but I what I would need is the reassurance that they're not going to leave me, no matter what it takes, even if they go sleep with someone else, which is just yeah, it's not really healthy in a relationship, but it can be if I find the right person, and I know that. And so I've been on this waiting for the right person that can accept me for me and me not trying to put my past traumas onto them and also for them understanding that I have these. relationship issues. And
Yes, I mean, this is something that definitely needs a lot of like communication because I also have abandonment issues. Uh, but in my case, it's also like connected to my attachment issues that, uh, when I was growing up, I was like just neglected by my parents in a way that, for example, they never touched me, they never said I love you. They just let me be alone all the time. So, I was always like struggling with like making friends and like social interactions because I just didn't know how. My parents never talked with me about emotions. Uh, like literally nothing because whatever reasons they had, right? To do that. Um, so like when I became an adult, I was just struggling because I was easily getting into like just another abusive relationships with like narcissists, that are like the most wrecking kind of relationships. So then I was just like I developed this thing that um I call it leave or make them leave. Because I just don't want people to leave, like I don't want to get used to them and then them hurting me, so I'll be like, okay, I like you, bye. you know
yeah.
like let's hurt now instead of hurt later on. um so my brain is just like preparing me for all of that just because my parents left me.
Mm.
But I'm trying like to fight with it and like communicate with people because yeah, I bet you can relate to this, that people are always mad at you, for no reason
Yeah.
when they're not. But your brain is telling you that, hey, they're telling me we're okay. We're not okay. They're lying, you know. Um,
And
but yeah,
you hyperfixate those conversations in your brain.
yes, even if it didn't happen. So it's definitely something that me personally I'm working on, and I'm trying not to make people leave. Like sometimes I mean, for most of the time it was subconscious, right? I wasn't thinking about it. That, for example, I was trying to like annoy people enough so they will be like, hey, you're fucked up, I'm leaving, and then I'll be like, yes, they left, like, and feeling that satisfaction because like, hey, everyone is leaving, so they need to leave too, right?
Yeah.
And like accepting like kindness and reassurance from people was like so difficult for me for such a long time. um Especially when I came to the States, because like people here are like more open. And I remember when I came here and people were telling me like random people telling me compliments on the street, my brain was like, what the fuck do they want? Like, why are you telling me that? Like, shut the fuck up, like,
Yeah.
and this kind of stuff. And it's not only, growing up in a country that does not do small talk. Like, we don't say nice things to each other, we don't say random things, we are not kind to each other and stuff like that. uh but still, like, my brain wasn't able to like accept people's kindness.
Yeah.
And I've had my friends just helping me like unconditionally. And
Yeah.
me growing up without unconditional love, I was like, hey, I need to earn it, I need to pay back for it, I need to do this, I need to do that, like all the time. But at the same time I was like, hey, okay, they're going to leave, so like why the effort, from them to like be kind to me, right? So like it's just a lot of confusion and a lot of like intrusive thoughts that are like messing up even more.
Yeah. And you experienced that in New York, which is probably the town that is least likely to have that. I don't know if you've been to the South or even like
No.
California, but where your neighbors would be like, "Howdy." They're just like everyone is just so acknowledging your existence, and you're like, "I'm always been invisible. but and I struggle with that a lot too because I grew up in a part of Denver that was not like how Denver is, where Denver's a little bit more like open and everyone's kind of part of each other's lives. People you've never met are being doing acts of kindness to you, and yeah, that it's I if you would have came to one of these Western places, you would have been really like, what is going on? Am I in Wonderland? Did I just get transported? It yeah, but New York is
My
known
brain
at
would explode.
New York is known as the one place in America that is like, I'm walking here and everyone's just, but that's how they show kindness sometimes too at New York is through rudeness. Let the world know what's coming up for you next, when the next podcast's coming out,
Um,
like that.
I'm still trying to find some motivation and strength to come back to my podcast or like change it into something else. Because I'm definitely missing it. I'm missing like just, focusing and like working with it, working with my voice and stuff like that. Because but like recording a podcast or like even like writing and preparing for it and doing the research is like really satisfying and relaxing to me. So I'm definitely thinking about coming back to it, either if it's like in a form of a podcast or maybe streaming or something else.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely planning to come back to it. Uh, I don't know what's next. I'm still not planning it, because I used to be a massive control freak.
Yeah.
So I'm letting myself to let it go. And this is what I will advise for everyone to learn how to let things go because it's like it feels better here.
Yeah. Great advice.
And like we don't have to have everything figured out right now. And it doesn't matter how old we are. We don't have to have all the life planned and we don't have to have every step planned because like life is changing and everything can happen. And I can say that as someone who 2 years ago didn't know that I'm going to end up in the city I'm going to fall in love with.
So, where does everyone find you? Um,
Right now, everyone can find me only on Threads. This is like my main social media that I'm using. If you see me somewhere else, it's not me. And mostly because I can't focus on more than one thing due to my ADHD. So you can find me only on Threads.
and on YouTube. I'll put her links for Threads and YouTube. Um,
I'm neglecting YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube.
yeah, her podcast is really great. For anyone who understood or resonated with anything that we talked about today, definitely go look at her podcast. It's very well researched. It helped me listening to it. So, yeah, so thank you everyone for joining this episode of Being Vulnerable. Um, and as always, peace and love, understanding to yourself and to others. And I want to thank my special guest. She's that way, somewhere this way. There you are. Um, Natalie, and definitely go follow her.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on here. And peace, everybody. This is the carpal tunnel. Being vulnerable.